In a world that glorifies the grind, Selah is a sacred invitation to pause. Every other week, you'll find space here to slow down, listen inward, and remember who you are beneath all the noise. Through guided reflections, soulful conversations, gentle practices, and story-led journeys, Selah, a deep pause, offers rest. Not an escape, not to repress, but as a way to come home. This podcast is for those standing at the edge of change. You know who you are. The seekers, the sensitives, the high-functioning feelers, those ready to honor the quiet and reclaim their own rhythm. So come as you are and exhale. Then exhale again and stay for the stillness. Hello and welcome back to Selah, a deep pause. How's your year going? I'll tell you, I am feeling so much better because all the shedding we've been doing.
Yes.
The skin. Do you feel your skin like starting to it's healing? So like if the wind blows on it, you don't get your feelings hurt as bad.
Not nearly as sensitive. Yes, definitely feel that.
Oh, it's like, I can breathe again. So with that said, I thought today's topic would be really interesting. I think it's potent. I think it's also really full of life. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a lot of cheating with my notes because there's so much I want to talk about that I'm like, I don't want to miss it.
And let's be honest, menopause.
It's like, let's stay on point. So I'm going to read a few points just to make sure that I put in all the bullets in here. So, and a lot of what I'm talking about, stuff that literally I've been moving through. I mean, a lot of us, right, have been moving through the last several weeks, maybe even the last few months of the season of shedding. So one of the things that really landed for me is I started noticing, I'm like, there was no avoiding feeling hurt. There was no avoiding feeling upset. And so I had all these emotions that had been rising up. And I couldn't breathe. I couldn't make them go away. They just didn't want to go away. And so I finally had to just settle into I feel this shit. But it's this I realized, I was like, oh my God, there's these new deeper levels of vulnerability that I had to drop into to allow myself to reflect on relationships and realize, oh, this place I'm holding for individuals or, these feelings that I'm having, I can't ignore them anymore. This energy is forcing me to really sit and look. And I remember there was a lot of our groups, right? We all connect through Marco Polo. And I remember going into our Marco Polo group with one of our close friends and several of our circle. And the whole time I was talking about, I need to revisit all these relationships. And the whole time I was talking, I couldn't stop sneezing. It was sneezing and sneezing. My body was processing because I was actually vocalizing and putting into words is like, I really have to revisit relationships. I really have to have the courage to look at sacred reciprocity, right? And sacred reciprocity being that, is this person that I'm in relationship, are they just in a season and it's okay to hold space, right? Or do I need to really look at, is my body bracing every time I have an exchange? Is there a beautiful exchange of energy? It's like, oh, okay, they're in it this week. Okay, I see that. I can be patient. I can be there for them, or, it's like, okay, this cycle has gone on long enough and realize, oh, I've been self-abandoning here.
Yeah, I think this is great, Laura. I don't think this is something we talk about a lot.
Mm-mm.
When I might talk about relationships with our partner or maybe some friend things, but I don't know that we really sit with it. You were talking about sacred reciprocity. I don't think we really sit and go, what am I hearing? What is this telling me? What is my body telling me? Why am I why am I having all the feelings, as you said? And before we go into that, I would like to know, and I do know, but I'd like you to share where this started coming up for you, because it's sometimes it's like it's there, but sometimes it just kind of builds. And I know firsthand that has been building for you. So can you share like where you started becoming aware that you even needed to look at this?
Really, it was, the last quarter, and then what's really funny is I keep getting this, image of a tsunami, right? Where at first, it almost felt like I had when a tsunami's coming, the first thing that the water does is it retreats.
Hmm.
So I felt the energy retreating. So all of a sudden, I wasn't feeling anything, right? I was kinda numb, but then it started coming back in. And what is it's like now that I'm reflecting on it, it's just like it was slow. It was the water started coming in, so it was just I was just splashing in my feet and having, like, awarenesses and feelings and like, "Oh, I gotta bring this up." Always like, "Oh, no, I don't know if I can." It's just like all these things. But over those 3 months, the water just kept getting deeper, but it was coming in so slow that I didn't realize how much was gonna come in, and it was about December for me when all of a sudden I was completely underwater, drowning in all these emotions, all these feelings. Even poor Tim, I mean, you saw us kinda trying to navigate this, I'm like and I kept warning him, I was like, "Please be careful because if you breathe on me, you're gonna hurt my feelings." And I was like, "Ah!" And, I kept just trying to, like, stay and, like, not drown in them, and
Hmm.
I finally had to just stop trying to tread the water and just sink into the feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. I also, and I don't know if you want to share this as well, because
Mhm.
it can't, it, for you, because I remember this, you kept pulling cards. You like to pull oracle cards. And if you want to share this, you know where I'm going, then you kept pulling oracle cards that were telling you that you needed to, what, purge,
Yes!
right? And you were like, I can't purge anymore. Like, if I'm going to purge again, I have to give away my house. And I think it was around the November,
Mhm,
December time that you were like,
mhm,
oh, this purging isn't things.
mhm.
It's more about relationships. It's more about energy that's around me. But I think I remember you pulling like a purge card like August and October and November. And then you pulled another one. I think we had something in
Mhm.
December and you were like, what the fuck? Like,
Yes, I'm like, "What house
why did I
still?"
get this again? Why did I get this again? And so I think that
Yeah,
was also interesting because usually when we think of things that we need to really look at are kind of like our relationships that aren't like right in front of us aren't necessarily the ones we look at, but they are the ones
yeah.
that they are in another podcast, they were talking about social capital, personal capital, and those
Mhm.
things that help support you. And we don't
Yeah,
realize how much our groups, our friends, our families, those things that do help support us, how entrenched we are in them and how much they impact us and how many hidden patterns are in those relationships. Because I
yeah.
just don't think we think about it really.
We don't. And yeah, and that's exactly the point is like, when I was talking about some of this, it was like, it's not like there was a version of me in the past that it was like, that's it, they're dead to me. I would cut people out, right? And that was to protect me. Now, it's not that feeling at all. It's like, oh, reorganization was what kept coming in. It was like, people that are in the first, second, and third that I mean, they surround me. They're in my field all the time. And there is that I had to revisit those. And I was like, oh, and as soon as I put words to it, man, it was like the mirrors. It's like the second I labeled it, the mirrors were just coming up in every direction, reflecting that back to me constantly, and I was like, "Oh, this is uncomfortable."
Can you give an
Um,
example of that? Because I think that would be interesting for folks to hear. Like, where can you give an example when a mirror showed up and you were like, oh,
the people that have been uber important to me for the last, gosh, I mean, starting to go on almost 5 years, they came into my life and they were there. They came in to support. right? A part of my life that needed supporting because I was breaking through. I was, massive shifts were happening. And because of that, there's this loyal, I'm not even explaining the mirror. I'm so sorry. I'm
No, you're
going
good.
into the story,
Just keep going.
but they came in to support this part, right? And what started happening is I started seeing situations where, because sometimes we can't see it for ourselves. So then it was, people in the community that would come and talk to me and they would explain this, situation, right? And then all of a sudden, I'm holding space for them. I'm reflecting back, helping them see what's going on. And then as soon as I'm doing that, I'm like, "Oh,
I hear it. As soon as you
ow,
do it, I hear
oh."
it.
I was like, "Talking to me. I'm talking to me."
Mhm. I say it to you to say it to myself so I can hear it.
And I was like, "Yes." And it's like, "Oh." And it was in those conversations that kept coming to me, and I'm like, at a point, I'm like, "Okay, fine. I'm gonna look at it." It's like, damn it.
Well, the
It just
looking at it
started
is fearful. It is to look at it is scary. It really is scary because these
It
are,
really is.
in many cases, I mean, they're friends, they're people you
Yeah.
love, the people who love you,
Mhm.
and to, you know, I'm 54 years old. I've had many people come in and out of my life in my 54 years. And some of them I haven't seen for 20 years, but if I meet up with them, it's like, "Oh my God, how you doing?" And then you just roll back into
Mhm.
it. And so I think sometimes we forget that people are meant to kind of come in and come out of our lives. But
Yeah.
when they're so close, sometimes it's like we're hanging on
Yes,
and we're not
that's what it
sure
is.
why, because
Mhm.
I'll speak for myself, there's fear of, oh, but if I don't have them, things change. And then what will no? Like there's just this fear of not having somebody. Maybe it's for me, it's just a fear of being alone, but not everybody's meant to stay in this moment. I mean, they
Correct.
come in and they go out and they come back in again. It's like that's the experience, but sitting
Yeah.
with it and being with that pain
Yeah.
and that hurt and just the feeling all the feels, like, it's
Yeah.
really, really hard and not my favorite place either.
No. And there is and it shows you parts, like, what it really showed me was like, wow, there is some parts of me that I didn't wanna be vulnerable with myself, with going like, these people that I've been holding, it's like, oh, they'll come around, right? Because, you know, they're coming back. It's people that stepped into my world that made me feel so unconditionally loved, that gave me that fertile ground to like really step into this version of me. And then so for me to feel that, oh, there's this loyalty, but the reciprocity isn't there anymore, right? The exchange of mutual energy isn't there. And sometimes, again, people have bad times. That's okay. People are hurting, give them space. But when I still have that beautiful Ferrari in my car, but when I go to turn on the engine, it doesn't start, so it can't take me anywhere. It's taking up space. And if I'm not, and I love that Ferrari and it's gorgeous and I had so much fun with it and it took me to all these great places, but it doesn't start anymore. It's hard to go, oh, I have to move it out of the garage. But if I don't
Mhm.
move it out,
There's no
I
space for anything else to come in.
there's no space for anything new to come in that, maybe now I need a vehicle that can go 0 to 200, you know?
Or maybe you need multiple bicycles.
Exactly. So it was really feeling into it's like, "Oh, I've been afraid to make space. Oh my god." Like, 'cause here you saw me pulling those cards over and over, and I'm over here, "I guess I need to purge my closet more. I guess I need to purge this." And I was purging
You're
things.
like, "Now we only have, like, 1 pan and a spoon. I got rid of everything." Sounds like, "Stop getting rid of our shit."
And it was exactly, and it was like, "Oh, okay." I have to make, and what's really different this time and that what I really love is that it doesn't change how much I love them and appreciate those relationships and what they provided. It's just like, "Oh, okay. I just need to reorganize my field." and make space, because really the reason these emotions are getting louder is because it's trying to let me know we need to make space so that this new version of you can be supported. And if I don't create the space so that more the people that are supposed to support me in this time to expand further, then I'll stay stuck there in that
Uh-huh.
cycle, and we don't get to grow. And it's that fear of the fear of the unknown always gets in the way. And the fear if we let go of this, well, then who's gonna love me that way?
Yeah, well, it's just fear in general, drives the
Yeah,
bus
it's just
so many
straight up.
times, completely drives the bus. And when you realize that fear is driving the bus and not something that I don't even know how to describe it, but when fear is driving the bus and it makes so many decisions, but when you're aware that like,
Mhm.
oh, I am holding on to this relationship because of fear, fear of
Yeah.
not being loved, fear of not being a part of something, FOMO, whatever you want to call it. But when you realize
Mhm.
that fear is driving the reason you're staying in something, that's when you go, oh, okay. I need to reorganize, or really need to look at this and see if this
Yeah,
still makes sense for me.
correct. And it's never about, and it's what I really love about the process this time. It wasn't about, because sometimes we stay stuck in our hurt feelings, and it's like it's not about making anyone wrong.
Uh-uh.
It's just like, oh, I've been self-abandoning.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, oh, I've been shrinking, like this the part of me that has, risen up, that I've remembered, um, has to shrink when I step into that relationship. And I'm like, oh, it's like, okay,
Yes,
fuck.
the relationship becomes more important than you.
Correct.
And I think
Correct.
that's one of the big things that we've talked about many times is how do you put
Mhm.
yourself in the driver's seat?
Mhm.
And we self-abandon so often. I'll speak for
Mhm.
myself. I have self-abandoned so often. And the more that you put yourself in that front seat again and say, no, this is what I want to do, or this is what works
Mhm.
for me, or this is in alignment for me, then it's as you start to put up the boundaries and do the things that make sense for you as a whole, that's when I think these things start to come in, because once you start getting everything else, like, oh, I don't want this job anymore. This relationship's not working. I'm doing this,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
it will start pouring out into those other facets of your life. And then I
Correct.
think where you are is, oh, these other relationships, oh, do these work for me anymore? I don't know. Am I showing up? Am I self-abandoning again? And your
Mhm.
body knows that feeling that, oh, I'm self-abandoning
Mhm.
again. It's meant that's not what it's saying. You're
Yeah.
feeling a certain way. Like there's this, why doesn't this feel good when I'm with this person anymore? Or why do I feel like I am always reaching out to them and I'm not
Mhm.
getting anything back? Why am I retracting rather than, "Oh, I get to go see them?" Like, your body is usually
Yeah.
telling you, it's just learning to listen through it.
Well, and then we don't, you know, and the most important reason that why we have to listen to it, because it is very fertile ground for resentment
Mhm.
when we don't.
Yep.
Our resentment grows. And so now you're holding on to a relationship that's now getting toxic, and it may not be highly toxic, but if you're having feels and you're still, for that loyalty of something that happened years ago, self-abandoning, resentment starts to grow.
Yep, it really does. I've totally experienced that, and then for me, when I became aware of it, I was like, "Oh, I'm starting to resent this person. What am I gonna do about it?"
Mhm.
Because that is a pivot point too. What do I wanna do about it? Well,
Mhm.
I love this relationship and I want to have this relationship, so I'm going to have that uncomfortable conversation with this person and say, "Hey, my feelings are getting hurt.
Mhm.
Hey, maybe it is it what I think it is?" And sometimes we won't have those conversations because the fear of the outcome rather than, you know what, this relationship is important and I am starting to feel resentful about it because it feels one-sided. Can we talk about it? And as easy as it sounds to say, it's like
Yeah.
for me, like that's not an
Yeah.
easy thing for me to do, but it's
No,
so
and because
important,
sometimes you're not gonna like the answer or the
that outcome.
response,
Mhm.
but can we be okay with that? Yeah.
So you were talking about, and I'd like you to expand upon it, loyalty and sacred reciprocity. So can you first define sacred reciprocity, and then let's talk about loyalty versus sacred reciprocity?
Sacred reciprocity, it's a relationship that it's not always easy, but it's easy. It's like I know you, you know me, and it's an easy exchange, it's an easy flow. They bring joy, I feel held. I don't brace. I don't, go there and have a like I'm going to meet somebody and then the whole way over there I'm like, "Oh my god." And I'm not spinning, you know. That's not sacred reciprocity because there's a whole lot of unsaid that you're just too afraid to speak up about. So then you're not in flow because you have all this disruption coming in that you don't want to vocalize. And so sacred reciprocity is just there is a beautiful exchange of energy
Mhm.
and it's not always even. Sometimes you're going to hold my tail better than I do and then vice versa and then it's like, "Okay, girl, it's a willingness too because even when we're not in a good place, it's like, "Hey, I'm not in a good place." And it's a willingness where you're not afraid to be seen, and you can and it's safe for you to be vulnerable. It's safe for you to let that individual see you,
Mhm.
hold you. You don't feel the judgment. That's sacred reciprocity. It's just this you don't walk out of there just drained.
I think children do this so well. I think if we you see
Mhm.
the little kids they just, "Hey, you wanna play with me? I wanna play with you." And then they play so well
Mhm.
together, and if one of them's like, "Hey, I'm tired. I need to go home." "Yeah, okay. Okay, well, I'll see you later." Like, there's that flow that you're
Mhm.
talking about. As you were talking, all I could see is, like, children. They just really
Mhm.
do a great job of doing that. Like,
Mhm.
their egos and brains don't necessarily come into play. They're like, "We're playing, and we're gonna do this. Oh, do you wanna
Mhm.
you can do it now. Alright, I wanna do it now. Oh, you don't feel
Mhm.
okay, let me help you." Like,
Mhm.
you really see that there. And
And they
then
vocalize their emotions so
yeah,
well.
yeah, "You hurt my
My
feelings."
granddaughter is like, I don't like you. I don't play with you." And it's like it's like, "Okay." So, yeah.
Yeah, or they even just say, "You hurt my feelings." "Oh." And then you see the other one go, "Oh, I'm sorry." Like, it's just
Yes.
you go, "Oh," and then they're done. And back to it. "Okay."
Yeah. Yep. Mhm. Yeah, and a lot of us get stuck with, this loyalty and again, it's not about I don't love the person anymore. And actually, when I don't honor this, the resentment's there, and so then you know I'm just I'm holding on to all this grief. I'm not making space for these new things because grief, man, and resentment they like to fester and they're like weeds. It grows. So and then you're you're just you You can't even see straight. You can't even see the person anymore. I mean, you literally that's what that does is that you can't even they may be having a good day and actually show up great, but because you are so just
You're
stuck in
like,
it, you
"This bitch."
Yeah, exactly.
'Cause you're showed up being like, "But then they didn't do this and they didn't do that," and they're all like, "Hey, how you doing?" You're
Mhm.
like, "I'm already mad at you." Like,
Mhm.
what did I do?
Exactly.
Like, what did I do? I don't understand."
Exactly. It blinds you. And
Yeah.
so, just because you're doing this doesn't mean, you know, I'm cutting out. And if you do it early enough, you get to hold on to all that love and appreciation. You're just honoring yourself
Mhm.
and you having the courage to I'm over here like looking at because it makes me kind of go into one of the steps is like, can we just sit in this feeling and pause before you take any action and ask yourself the questions. I'm like, am I bracing in this relationship? Be willing to be vulnerable with yourself because we can't be vulnerable with anyone else if we can't
Mhm.
do that with ourselves. And there's always deeper layers. Like for me, that was a deeper layer of like, oh, it's like I didn't want to look at. I've looked at a lot of these things, but right now there were certain relationships that I'm like, no, but I don't. I just kind of want to pretend that's not there because I don't wanna see it.
Well, and that's a questioning too, and sometimes
Yeah.
when you're going through a thing and this is coming up and you start to be aware of it, there is a pause also to go, "Okay, is this truly a reciprocity thing? Is it a me thing? Like, I know sometimes I look
Mhm.
at it from a couple different angles and go, oh, well, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm being too sensitive, or maybe I'm being this, or maybe I'm being that. And that's usually the first thing that hits me when this comes up for me. I'm like, maybe I'm just being too much. And then if I find that's what I'm doing, I notice that now that if that's what I'm doing, I go, okay, hang on, let me take that and put that aside and really just say, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? But to your point, sitting with it for a hot second
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
not just dismissing it. Because more than
Correct.
likely you're able to sit with it and go, okay, well, one, how often have I dismissed this feeling? That's a
Mhm.
pattern, right?
Yep.
How often have, we made plans and they've just canceled and, you know,
Mhm.
didn't give me any notice, whatever the case may be. Um, and really looking, oh, this is a pattern. Okay, I can see the pattern because usually that is what
Mhm.
shows up. We go, this time, this time, this
Correct.
time, this time, this time. Oh, all right. Let's really just sit with it and see, and then start taking, I guess the word is stock of it. And you go,
Mhm.
all right, am I, to your point with the Ferrari analogy, am I
Yep.
just holding on to this because of what it used to do for me?
Correct. Correct. Um, and in that, it's like we're going over the importance of not layering the stories, because the stories that we're telling ourselves, and going like, okay, it's self-reflection and trying to remove some of the stories. And then it allows the truth to really fall. And then you can go, okay, and decide if you're just silently going to create the space or go, okay, I am going to have the conversation, knowing that I may not like what I hear,
Huh?
and it's okay. But if I can be with my own feelings, I can actually show up with less projection. And it honors the entire relationship and the season, because sometimes people are meant for one season, sometimes
Mhm.
they're meant for multiple seasons, but, right now this isn't our season. So, maybe it'll circle back around later.
Yeah, and I think that's important too. That
Yeah.
it's people come in and out of our lives, and I think I see sometimes like you're just trying to hold on. It's like it's okay. It's just
Mhm.
let them let it's almost like that flow. Let it flow. And
Yeah.
then I think what
Um,
comes around about that, and you can probably talk about that, the more that you do that as you've gone through this process of walking into almost a self trust, because I think that's really important when we are recognizing and start to really know, oh, my intuition is correct. The way I'm feeling for me, this is correct for me. And not, like I said, not
mhm.
just poo pooing it or being like, oh, you're just being a certain way. It's like, no, my body is telling me something. Okay, that's a signal. Let me listen. Let me sit in it. Let me decide what I want to do with it. And then anchoring it in that, okay, yeah, my body was telling and I did listen. And there was something going on that I really needed to sit with.
Correct. Correct. Um, and so it's naming some of these. For example, loyalty as a survival, loyalty as a virtue, loyalty as self-abandonment when we go unquestioning when we don't question what we're feeling.
Well, we're conditioned to be loyal, right? We
Yeah.
are.
I
We are.
yeah.
Society's going to praise. You're going to be praised for being loyal rather than because then if not, then you're selfish, right? So it's almost you can't win. It's like
Yeah.
so. But in that loyalty, just what you said, that self-abandonment,
Mhm.
that's a very big piece, and as you're moving through this work and really trying to decide what you want out of life and what you want for yourself, you have to ask that question, is this loyalty? Am I just being loyal? Am I being loyal to my Ferrari because, it's got me so far and did all the things? Am I being loyal to it? And it doesn't serve you anymore. But I don't think
Correct.
sometimes we realize that we're being loyal out of the sake of just being
Mhm.
loyal
Yeah.
because we're told that's what we're supposed to do. Oh, there's no loyalty here. It's
That's the
kind of like staying in a
conditioning.
job too long. It's like
Yeah.
staying in a job for too long, staying in a in another relationship for too long. We like, oh, well, you're not loyal to the company. It's like, okay, but you can hear that going back generations of if you're loyal to this thing, if you're loyal to this company, there will be a reward at the end for your loyalty. And a lot of times there's just not. And all you're doing
It's
is
just not.
self-abandoning because you're like, oh, I gotta be loyal. And what else am I going to do? You're like, I don't know, have a conversation.
Mhm. Yeah. And well, and that's the thing is that a lot of us, we're not taught or we're not initially skilled to have these conversations. So instead
No.
we go we go at it with all the resentment that's already piled the hell up. And then you're going at this individual with resentment. And so all they're doing is, self-protecting. And so there's this requires a skill set, and it requires and you're not going to have this skill set right away.
No.
No, no,
No.
you're gonna throw up on some people, um, at first, right? And but it's this whole thing. That's why we wanna be with ourselves and allow some of these feelings to really move through and separate the stories. Because right now, the resentment has grown because we just got all these stories layered over each other, so it's like we just, we we wanna walk around that big pile of resentment and shit, and get around it, and it's like, no, you're gonna have to get in there and feel it on you.
And the interesting part is a lot of times when you're telling yourself that when you're creating all the stories about this conversation you might be getting ready to have, and then you go to sit down with this person, they're like, "I had no idea you were feeling that way."
Mhm.
That's usually what you I find you run into. It's like, "Oh, I didn't know. Why did" and then usually falls out, "Why didn't you tell me?" It's like, "Well, I'm telling you now." But that going into that of like because you don't know what the outcome's going to be, as we said before, but just going in there and going, okay, I want to talk about this and it makes me really uncomfortable. I'm telling myself a lot of stories, but I really need to have this conversation because I love you and this is important. I love you and I love me and this is important to me.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's terrifying to me,
And
but
who
but I've tried
Yeah,
it a
no,
few times recently and I'm
and
like, okay, I got to do this and I don't like it. Please let me just do it.
yep, and you're not gonna have that conversation with everybody because you
Mm-mm.
know where some people are, right?
There are sometimes where you go,
It's
oh, okay.
Yep. You're like, "Oh, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen,"
Uh-huh.
because if I do it, they're gonna bark just like my dogs are barking right now. It's like I go at them, they're just gonna
hmm
yeah, and so as you know, but
Well, some
the
people
ones
aren't
that
ready also
matter.
for that conversation too. There
Yeah,
are, to your point,
yeah.
sometimes when you go in with that conversation, you're gonna butt right up against their issues, their
Mhm,
fears, their trauma, their things when they come at you and then go, "Oh, this did not go how I was anticipating." And then all of a sudden their resentment comes up and it just becomes a thing. So I think to your point of continuing to try, just keep taking another step in. I still really want to have this conversation. It's really important to me. And some will listen and go, "Oh, okay. Thank you for
mhm,
telling me." And some will go, as we've seen, "Mm, you're not worth it. Just this is too much. I can't. I gotta go." Okay, that's
mhm,
information. That's information that you just
yeah,
got. Oh, all right. Well, that sucks, but now I know. Now I have information.
mhm, yeah, and now you just freed up a spot in your garage.
Yes, you sure did. Get you another Ferrari.
Exactly. Um, so no, it's just been, you know, it's surprised me, I guess. It's been a really beautiful teacher the last few weeks. Um, and now that, I feel like my skin has been shedding that I can function without so much of those emotions. I was like, oh, I feel good. I feel restored and I also feel relief. Yeah, but it's like this big exhale. I don't have to because I've gotten a lot of clarity. I'm like, "Oh, okay. I don't have to keep this in my field and brace for that impact anymore. It's just I'm okay now,
Yeah. It
and I
also
get to
feels
move it
like
out of my field."
when that reciprocity comes in, it's like when both people are in it, there's
Mhm.
a balanced hold to it.
Mhm.
Right? And if one person's not in it, you're just there trying to hold it up. And so if you're holding that one up and this other one up and this other one up, then you're going to be frazzled and you're just that foundation's going to all of it's just going to fall. But if you've got
Mhm.
these relationships where there's some type of equilibrium. Let's say equilibrium, not necessarily equal because
Mm,
it isn't always equal because we have different
mm-mm,
things going on. But if there is some type of equilibrium where, yep, you're having a shit time. Okay, I got you. You got me. And then that's holding the things up. It's just kind of doing what it needs to do. Then you have that room to breathe because you're not up there being like, I got it. No, I'm holding it. Oh, I'm holding it.
mhm,
And this one. So, yeah, I can see where it totally gives you
yeah,
ease. Like there's ease in that relationship and it's not dread. It's not just
obligation.
work, work.
Mhm,
Like relationships can be work, but it's not constantly working where you're constantly trying to make it. You're not pushing. I think if we said before, if you find you're
mhm,
pushing at something, then that's something really to look at. If you're constantly
exactly.
just going at it and you got to push, and if this feels like, oh, ease and flow, we like ease and flow,
Mhm,
ease and flow, and a little bit of peace.
yeah,
Like,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Ah, well, I'm starting to feel like I thought I was gonna cheat the whole time, and I barely looked at it. I was so proud of
Yay! Yay!
myself. Yeah, no, so I'm just scanning real quick to see. Okay, so here, I love the make sure that we can, because as that some relationships are meant to walk with us through a chapter, not an entire book,
Huh?
right? And when we clarify, the love can remain, but access can change. And then proximity gets to be earned through the present moment, not the history. And that, I mean, that really that lands for me.
You
Because
wanna
in all this process, I wasn't going through like making anyone wrong.
mhm. And I think that's a very important point because that's usually there is, we usually want the hero, the villain, and whatever that triad is.
Mhm.
It's usually, oh, well, they did this. Okay. It's just going, this is how I'm
Mhm.
feeling. And you have your own stuff, I just went to, and I find for me, for most of the people, and especially those people that are important in my life, and I'm like, I really want to have this conversation because it is important to me.
Mhm.
And oh, menopause just kicked in and I lost it. Just
I
Lily was
love
going
that.
down up there and it was like, "Bye."
Oh, that's awesome. So going back to
You too can run your own
reorganizing.
podcast. Menopause be damned.
Reorganizing. So we're gonna go back to reorganizing does not equate to cutting off.
No, it doesn't. Like if you to
Yeah.
use your analogy of the book, I have a bunch of books on my bookshelf. I still have them. I can
Mhm.
go read them anytime. And I find that sometimes they come back and I go, off book again. Like I said, I have friends that I've been friends with since we were one. I don't see them all the time. They're in
Mhm.
completely different states. They're in Delaware. I'm in Texas. But when I go home and we go out to lunch, all the things come back up. And oh my God, and just connection, connection, connection,
Yeah.
connection. And then there's others who I see on the regular sometime, or it just was like, I don't have that anymore. It did maybe a year
Yeah.
ago.
Mhm.
They see it now. You can see each other now. It's like, oh no, so good to see you. Okay, bye. And it's really
Mhm.
interesting because there is a part of us, that loyalty part of us, that's been conditioned that we want to try and hang on and still like go, it just doesn't do the thing that it did before, and that's okay. I think you
Mhm.
see that a lot with relationships that may have evolved around children, right? So
Mhm.
if you and this other parent you kind of grew up together because your kids grew up together. They went to school together the whole entire time. And then as the children get older and then they don't have the things anymore, you find yourself, the kids are 20, you're, getting together to talk about things. And you find that, oh, we don't really have as much to,
Relatability's
yeah,
gone.
it's just gone.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, and that's okay. Because
Mhm.
to your point, if you keep trying to hold on to it, then it's like, what am I doing here? What am I doing with
Mhm.
this just going outside and sitting on the Ferrari in the garage talking about the good old days when we used to take it for a ride? Instead, it's like, this doesn't feed me anymore.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Mhm. Exactly.
And it's sad sometimes. And sometimes there's grieving around it too. It's like, oh
Mhm.
man, that's all right. And allowing that, to your point, sitting with it, allowing it, and not making the other person wrong, just being like, no, the air
Yep.
just kind of came out of the relationship. It doesn't float
Yep.
anymore.
Exactly. Well, I feel like this is getting feeling pretty complete. So, a little exercise for people to take with them before I do the closing statement.
Okay.
It's like Now let's name the courage. The courage to pause before committing, whether it's committing to stay, committing to have these conversations, committing to hold on. The courage to feel before promising, and the courage to let space speak. Because when you let go and just let space take over, it will speak. You'll get clarity.
I would also add to that after you've sat with it is because that talking to that person might be uncomfortable because of the fear that
Mhm,
comes up. And
mhm,
it's, maybe trying it on something that's not as high stakes. So if you want to start having those uncomfortable conversations, something that might not be as high stakes where you're like, you have that one friend who's like, okay, she's definitely your ride or die. And you're like, okay, I really
mhm,
want to have this conversation with you because this is I'm feeling all the feels and I want to talk to you about it. And so that friend, that bestie, that is your ride or die, say, I really want to try this conversation with you and be almost that vulnerable of this is the
mhm,
story I'm telling myself. This is what's coming up for me, or even starting out as, "I'm not trying to make you feel wrong, but this is what's coming up for me." And having that
mhm,
conversation say, "I'm really," and also letting them know, "I'm trying something new and this is super uncomfortable for me. Can you be here with me in this?" So that you're
mhm.
not putting them on the defense and not making them wrong, as we've said. I think that's something that gives our listeners something just to try. You know who your ride or die is, you know who that person is, be like, "All right,
Yep.
I've done it with you." I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna come in here and
Mhm,
I feel really vulnerable and I'm feeling all the feels. Can you
mhm,
be here with me?" And then and seeing how that goes and go, "Okay, I didn't blow away.
yeah,
I
mhm,
didn't turn into, fire." So I think that's something our listeners can take away
yeah,
as well is try it with, somebody who will let you be messy.
yeah, yeah, and how beautiful to be able to find some people that'll let you be messy,
Mhm.
because let's just face it, we are.
Yes.
All right, so we've had a lot to talk about. I hope you
Mhm.
guys let it really land, and so I'm just gonna take you out with a closing reflection versus a prayer. This is more like a closing reflection. This isn't about who stays or who goes. It's about who you become when you stop abandoning yourself. For your soul to free, to feel into. In this episode, we've already named it. Am I willing to feel into my relationships before I commit? Before loyalty speaks louder than my own truth? Am I willing to let myself be seen in what I actually need now? Not what I once needed, even if it makes others uncomfortable. Will you let that land? I am not outgrowing people. Mm-mm. I am growing into all of me. And the relationships that belong in this next phase will meet me there without me shrinking, without me having to explain, and without me having to endure. Aho.
Oh,
And this is a wrap.
bye everyone.
Thank you for pausing with me. May what you heard settle gently in your body and stir something true within you. If this episode spoke to your soul, please subscribe and share with someone else who might need this pause as well. Until next time, come as you are, take a deep breath, and stay for the stillness.